So how good was Lightning McQueen? I mean, he's won 7 Piston Cups, tying the record set by the King. During the World Grand Prix, he was considered the best all-around race car. And in the Essential Guide for Cars 2, he's even described as the greatest athlete of his generation. But is this hype for Lightning McQueen too high, or is he actually the greatest race car of all time? Well, by going through his background, his stats, his team, and how he changed the landscape of the racing world forever, I think I finally found the answer for you. Now to start, we have to begin by contextualizing how revolutionary Lightning McQueen actually was, not just within the Piston Cup circuit, but in the world of cars. You see, when Lightning was a rookie, he was considered the fastest race car alive, and there was a good reason for that. Unlike every other race car that came before him, Lightning was a custom-built Piston Cup racer. Doc Hudson was a 1951 Hudson Hornet, the King was a 1970 Plymouth Superbird, Chick Hicks was a 1979 Shyster Kremlin, but Lightning McQueen was a 2006 handmade one-of-a-kind racer, and this changed everything. You know, throughout my research into the many legendary race cars in the world of cars, there's a trend of technological change coinciding with a new champion of an era. Doc had more speed from his twin H power engine and a low center of gravity for better handling. The King had double the speed of the fabulous Hudson Hornet, and Lightning was built from the ground up to be a competitive race car. According to the Essential Guide for Cars 3, Lightning had a lightweight racing body, an ultra performance gearbox, a high efficiency alternator, roof rails for high speed stability, an adjustable rear spoiler for fluctuating downforce, and even specialized light year tires. And this entire build was leveraging the power of Lightning's supercharged full race V8 engine with 750 horsepower. He was even said to have an exceptional racing brain, and this seems to be why he didn't have headlights. The track was always lit, and Lightning would have just added more weight for him to carry if he had those headlights. Clearly, every component and design decision was chosen for Lightning McQueen to transform him into the greatest race car that had ever existed. And this was obvious from the start of his career. In his rookie season, Lightning was facing outdated angular racers, while he was a highly efficient instrument of speed and aerodynamics. And this created some amazing real-world results for him. According to the Essential Guide for Cars 2, at his peak, Lightning could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 3.2 seconds and reach speeds up to 220 miles per hour. And according to the comic The Rookie, in the preseason before Lightning's rookie season, he was breaking track records. Sure, later on he'd slow down to a 4-second 0 to 60 and he'd max out at 198 miles per hour, but those stats are what the King was able to pull off in his glory days. Lightning had incredible longevity for a rapidly evolving technological world, and the truth is that throughout most of Lightning's career, no one could compete with his raw power and speed. And that included the living legends of the sport. Like, you remember in Cars 3 how we learned the reason the King retired? Cal Weathers explained that the King knew his time was over when the youngsters tagged him out. Well, the young racer that tagged stripped the King Weathers was Lightning McQueen. Sure, the King may have been able to win some races and remain competitive for the Piston Cup throughout Lightning's rookie season, but by the end of that season, the King knew, probably more than most, that Lightning was the future of racing. Lightning just had one big problem he had to overcome. You see, the King originally identified problems within Lightning McQueen's overconfident mindset early into his career.
This ain't a one-man deal, kid.
Lightning fired crew chiefs, antagonized his pit crew, and isolated himself from his sponsor. He was hoping that he could rely on talent and raw ability alone to win, but that wasn't going to be enough. Throughout his rookie season, he made a lot of simple mistakes. Like in the Dinoco 400, Lightning lost all of his momentum from a single hit. He let go of his focus and crashed out during the tiebreaker race in Los Angeles. And he even let Chick Hicks box him out in the final fight for the Piston Cup. Without the wisdom of a crew chief and the support of a capable team around him, Lightning would never live up to his potential. You see, to win, Lightning needed to be more than the fastest race car alive. But luckily, Radiator Springs was able to show him a new way forward. With the fabulous Hudson Hornet as his crew chief, teacher, and friend, everything changed for Lightning McQueen. You see, in the past, race cars were mostly left on their own to figure out the racing world. Like strip weathers came up when there were very few race cars on the scene who could help guide him through his career. But Doc could share all of his tricks from the dirt track days. He could guide Lightning through the trials of a racing season because he had experienced what it took to become a champion. And that's exactly what Doc Hudson molded Lightning to be. You see, since Doc was a champion of all time and a legend of the sport, he not only taught Lightning the tactics of racing, but he also provided him with the wisdom, discipline, and mentality necessary to win. Instead of Lightning relying completely on his speed, Doc transformed him into one of the most versatile race cars alive. Whether Lightning was facing technical turns, fast straightaways, or off-roading dirt tracks, he could handle anything. And that was proven throughout the World Grand Prix and throughout his career in the Piston Cups circuit. With Doc guiding Lightning through races and Luigi, Guido, Sarge, and Fillmore in the pits, Lightning had finally assembled his racing team, and they would help him rise higher than any other race car in history. You see, in the first 5 years of his career alone, Lightning won 4 Piston Cups, including the Hudson Hornet Memorial Piston Cup in its debut year.
To have someone else win it just didn't feel right, you know?
And by 2017, he had won a total of 7 Piston Cups, tying the King's own record. Oh, and let's not forget, the only reason that Lightning doesn't currently have 8 Piston Cups is because of the humanity he showed to the King in his final race. If Lightning hadn't thrown away his victory in his rookie season, he would currently be the most decorated Piston Cup champion in history. But Lightning didn't just go on to be a Piston Cup champion. He would define the development of future athletes, and we can see that through Jackson Storm. You see, Storm is a 2017 custom-built Piston Cup racer, which means that Storm and the next-gen racers are an evolution of the original custom-built Piston Cup racer. They are all iterations of Lightning McQueen's designs, which by the end of Lightning's career had completely proliferated the sport. So, how good was Lightning McQueen? Well, the truth is that Lightning McQueen changed the Piston Cup circuit forever as the first custom-built race car. He was designed for the sole purpose of winning Piston Cups, and that's exactly what he did. Before the racing world advanced Lightning McQueen's custom designs for the next generation of racers, he was the fastest and the most advanced race car of all time, and he took full advantage of his technological superiority. Through the help of his mentor, Doc Hudson, and the rest of the Radiator Springs racing team, he absolutely dominated even against race cars from around the globe. Regardless of whether Lightning was facing the King, Francesco Bernoulli, or Jackson Storm, he held his own and was often viewed as one of the best all-around racers alive. To me, Lightning McQueen is the greatest race car of all time. But let me know what you think. Who do you believe the best race car is in the world of cars? Also, subscribe for more cars videos like this one. And finally, I'm Isaac Carlson. Thanks for watching and have a magical day.